Hello, friends. Welcome to Two Gals in a Book podcast. Today we are in front of the Orange County Courthouse, the oldest courthouse in Orange County, and we are here to talk about the book we just finished reading because the setting is in a courthouse, not this one, but we couldn't go to the one it takes place. So tell us a little bit about the book, Lily.
So we are reading The Girl from Greenwich Street. And this is a novel about Hamilton Burr and America's first murder trial. So it takes place, it starts in 1979, 1800, and it's about a woman who is found dead in a well. And Hamilton and Burr are involved in defending the man Levi Weeks of murdering this young girl. She was 22. She was living with her cousin who she had a boarding house, right? She would board men that worked for a carpenter, a very wealthy carpenter who happens to be Levi's brother. And so the story starts off with Elma is her name. She's very excited because she's going to go and elope with Levi. And so we find out.
Or that's what we think, right?
Is what she says.
Yes.
Is what she's telling her cousin Katie. Katie is her older cousin. She's got kids. She's married. She's the one in charge of this boarding house. And she's hesitant to let her go because she's eloping with this man. But she finally says, why don't you go borrow something from the neighbor because you're not cold. But she doesn't return. And 2 weeks later, she is found dead in a well. So the story is about
a real case.
It is actually a real case. It's historical fiction. It's a real case. There's a lot of research that went into this book. Lauren Willig did a great job of really detailing details. And she got, from original transcripts.
How'd you know?
You didn't hear it? I heard it.
It's a good choice of music.
Why not? It doesn't go with our times. It doesn't go with it.
It goes with the Hamilton musical. Okay.
True.
So where were we? Are you able to?
So she doesn't come back.
Okay.
And so.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hello, Richard.
We're still going. Bloopers. So
Anyways.
she doesn't come back and is found 2 weeks later dead in the well. And so the story is about the attorneys who are interviewing the people, the town, and also the attorney, I forgot his name, for Elma, I guess, who's also looking to prosecute Levi. So there's a lot of interviews with the locals, the town, the family, and yeah.
So the book came on our radar because we are Hamilton fans, right?
We
So
are,
you see the name Hamilton on there and you're like, okay, it makes you curious.
I read Murder and I was very
And
into it.
of course Lily's
Someone has to die.
magic word is murder. And we wanted to bring this to you around the 4th of July, hence the t-shirt, the colors.
I didn't so much.
We're a little late, but
We were on vacation.
yes. So reading the book so that we could present it to you. And so let's get ready, Lily. I mean,
Yes,
if you
let's do
remember,
this.
friends, we in this podcast we like to do a deep dive into the book. We go through a couple of pages, focus on a couple of quotes, and in the process, we learn a little bit about ourselves, and hopefully, you learn a little bit about you. Let's get to it. So right off the beginning, and before I start, every chapter it begins with some kind of a testimony from the court documents. And so that's how each chapter begins. And I don't know what page you're on, Lily, but I'm on page 13.
Okay.
Are we good with that one?
Yeah, and there's a prologue. This is part of the
Yes.
prologue before.
So this is part of the prologue, and like Lily mentioned, we're at the end of the century. 1799 is when this trial begins, more or less. A friend asks Hamilton on page 13 about time, right? I guess his wife, Eliza, complains that he doesn't spend enough time at home. He's very involved in politics and his own ambitions in terms of his career. And my question to you, Lily, to our readers is, we know that time is finite.
Yes.
How do we manage it? I think a lot of us complain about the lack of time to do all the things, whether we're famous political figures like Hamilton,
or just podcasters, soon to be,
or common folk like you and I.
Mm-hmm.
So, is this an issue that we have, and how do we manage it?
Yeah, that's there's a lot of there's work, there's home life, and there's our hobbies, something we like to do. So finding the right balance, but there's just never enough time to. And I think the older I get, the more I'm like, I love my job. However, that can't be my life.
Yes.
So trying to find more time to read, do what we want to do, travel.
Yes.
Right? And we were talking about finding time to meet up with your sister to go hiking, but you're available and she's not. So where's the happy medium?
Yes.
Right.
And I know that a lot of people struggle with retirement, right? When the time comes, because like you said, they devote their lives to their jobs, and then they don't know what to do with their time once they have it. So I guess, dear reader, it's time to reflect, right? How do you use your time, and make sure you're using it wisely? I mean, there's a finite amount of it.
Yes.
So we save money, we save collect things. Time is not tangible.
No.
And we forget how valuable it is. Maybe because of that, because it's not tangible.
Yeah.
Moving along.
Yes.
Page 29.
I have something on 15.
Okay.
So, and this is Richard Harrison, and I get confused because some of the names are duplicates, but they're different people. And he's talking with Alexander Hamilton, and they're approaching this scene of like a mob, and they're seeing the body of Elma that was taken out of the well and just on public display. And there's all these people already saying Levi did it. They're already calling him a guilty man. And then so let me see if I can. It says here, unless a germ of an idea began to form, what evidence is there against a young man? It says, precious little as yet. Rumor has and hearsay, the sentiment of the street. They've been baying for his blood. Someone's been handing out broadsides, riling them up. The mob's convinced he did it. They'll settle for nothing less than his neck in a noose. And there was, and when I was looking it up, it's right here. Charles, there's this, it's not a law. That's not justice. That's Lynch law. Charles Lynch and the men like him who took it upon themselves to enact vengeance on those they'd condemned without process of law were anathema to everything Alexander stood for. So Alexander Hamilton doesn't like the fact that there's people that would take law into their hands and lynch them and hang them just because there was these rumors so and so did it. So yes, that was Lynch law, death by hanging without a legal trial. And that was a thing. And he did not like that. And he was against all of that.
And let's remember, this is a young nation, right?
Very young.
Remember the year I gave you, 1799.
So it was 25 years.
So it's a nation that is tweaking its laws, trying to be different from from Great Britain, right? To be fairer, quote unquote. So there's that going on during the telling of this story. And let's summarize for our readers what has happened so far, right? So right off the bat, like Lily said, the novel begins with the discovery of the body of Elma. Elma telling us she's running away with Levi. But do we believe her? Is Levi just a cover-up for the man that she really is going to run away with? Right. So that seed is planted from the beginning, right? It can't be that easy of a mystery solution to this mystery, right? So just because she tells us she's running away with Levi, is she really running away with Levi? So yes, Levi is the automatic scapegoat, believed to be the killer. On page 29, Hamilton rescues Levi from prison. because he's been badly beaten.
Mm-hmm.
The fellow prisoners say, we don't hold with women killers. So even amongst these criminals,
Yeah,
they
criminals
have, yes.
in, what do they call it? Broad Bride or something? It's like the jail there.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess my point was that even among criminals, quote unquote, there is some sort of sense of honor,
Mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm.
There's certain things they just don't stand by.
Yeah.
So they, according to them, they don't want to be amongst women killers.
Yeah,
which
we're
is
honest.
right.
We're honest
They're honest
thieves.
criminals. So yeah, I thought that was interesting. So going back to Hamilton rescuing him,
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that I wondered from the beginning is
Mm-hmm.
why are these political figures so interested in defending Levi?
Mm-hmm.
Right? There's
Mm-hmm.
Hamilton, there's Burr,
Mm-hmm.
and they all have political interests.
Mm-hmm.
This case is not just about Levi, but it's about their political ambitions and being seen.
Future elections.
Yes.
Their
yes.
names being out there.
Yes. So they decide to work together to be his defense team.
Mm-hmm. So Ezra is Levi's brother. He's the wealthy one. He's the one that goes to Aaron Burr and some other man to
We'll
defend
remember.
him.
There's a team of 3, Livingston.
And so Hamilton was like, well, I want to get in on this too.
Yes.
He doesn't want Aaron Burr to get the attention.
Yeah.
He also is seeking justice, not just for Elma, but not only does he want to prove that Levi is guilty, but also find the person who did it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's important to him. We'll get to that. Yeah.
Page 50.
I have something on page 39.
Mm-hmm.
This one I wrote, gossip shapes what people believe long before evidence is available. It says right here, naturally, Hamilton this is him, and I think he's already talking to Aaron Burr, I think. Naturally, Hamilton had no interest in taking a seat. He was too busy wearing a track on Aaron's one remaining turkey carpet. The boy has been sacrificed on the altar of public opinion. 1,000 tongues of rumor lash him about. Even his fellow inmates in the prison have declared him guilty and wreaked their vengeance upon his unresisting frame. This boy, only a boy, faces the gallows.
I love that quote, Lily.
Yes.
1,000 tongues.
1,000 tongues.
Yeah.
That's a lot. And so I when I read that, I was like, how is that any different than social media now?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
They, you may not know the whole story, but you know what social media is telling you. And then you take that information and then you tell someone else, and well, I heard it here. It's like, but who?
It replicates exponentially, right?
And it changes, but it's just, it's very sad. And so he's telling Aaron, this kid is already young
Doomed.
kid.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll wait until the end to tell you if he is able to come out of that unscathed, because from the start, and you do feel for the young man. He's just trying to make a path for himself. Although he works for his brother, he's trying, he moves out into this, what do they call these homes?
It's a boarding house.
A boarding house, yes. To make, to be independent of his brother. And so he comes across this young lady and, his life takes a turn for the worse from that moment forward.
Yeah.
Are we on page 50, Lily?
We can.
Or not yet? No,
yes, we can be, yes.
So on page 50, we already told you that the defense team is comprised of 3 very prominent lawyers, Hamilton, Burr, and Livingston. And the prosecutor is Cadwallader. I don't know if I can pronounce it correctly.
I thought it was his last name, but it's his first name, and then there's a last name attached to it.
Cadwallader, yes.
Cadwallader.
Anyway, this quote, I wanted to share this quote with you because I liked it. Think or you speak, for words once flown, once uttered, are no more your own, which is what you were mentioning earlier. Once you say something, it's out there, whether it's true or false. Like it just, the quote reminds us that we should watch what we say.
Yes.
Right. Think it through.
And without proof.
Yes.
And some people don't care. They just hear the words.
And ill-intentioned gossip too, right? So yeah, I just thought that was a pretty cool quote.
And I think that's really like the premise of the story, how the town just automatically accuses,
Yeah.
and they go by, well, so and so said, well, so and so
Mhm.
heard, well, I heard, I didn't see, and so it's just a lot of that they bring to trial.
Mhm.
And this is if this is a first murder trial, it's a jury of 12.
Yes.
There is a jury of 12 men.
Mhm.
So here I have
Page?
99. Do you have
Okay,
something
91, yes,
Perfect.
please. So on page 91, let's remind the reader, if you read it, if not, the boarding house is owned by Elias and Katie.
Ring.
Katie is related to the murdered girl. They're cousins.
Mm-hmm.
And so on page 91, we get a little backstory to this couple.
Mm-hmm.
They had a dry goods store that had failed. Then Elias had a patent water wheel that he thought would make them rich because it would bring clean water to the city. But then the Manhattan Company passed his plan over. The same way every other investor he'd approached had passed his plan over. Meanwhile, they have many kids to feed. I forget how many. They have this boarding house they have to maintain. And it's Katie that oversees the home and the children. And the reason I'm wearing this hat is because she also has to run the millinery. And she did all this to support her husband's dreams. So here we learn that he's a dreamer. He has all these ideas
Very
that don't
ambitious.
come to fruition. He does not see that his dreaming is financed by his wife's hard work.
Yeah.
Because she's the realist in the relationship. So for those of us that didn't know what a millinery is, I had to Google it. And it looks like it's a hat making business or a hat decorating business. Trimming. So hence the hat. Not related to the hat, in Katie's company, but this hat I got from Oaxaqueño couple. They have the hats and then they decorate them, as you can see. So here I'm promoting hats from Oaxaca.
Nice.
But anyway, that's the family. I just wanted to give our reader a backstory. This is where Levi is staying at this boarding house. And this is where our murdered girl is also staying, Elma. This is where they met. And now I'm ready to move forward to page 92.
Also, Hope,
Yes.
Katie's sister, also lives there and helps with with her kids. Helps with Katie's kids. Also, being Elma's cousin, they do stuff together.
Yeah,
too.
they're more like of the same age.
Yeah,
right?
they're younger together. Together. Yes.
So on page 92, a little bit more about Elias and Katie. Because, a lot of what we discuss in these books is, how women are represented and treated in history and in literature.
Yeah.
Here, the quote that I want to read to you is about Katie. She, I'm just going to read. When she'd been in the country a month, she goes and spends time in the country.
Yes.
Her husband had sent her a letter begging her to come back to the city. At the time, she'd felt a perverse satisfaction over it, that he realized he couldn't manage without her, that he was finally seeing all the work she did unnoticed, unthanked. She decided to make him stew to see how much she was worth and stayed another 2 weeks in the country before coming back. So what I was saying earlier, right, how she's the one that is supporting this family and he just doesn't realize it.
Yeah.
Further down the page, Elias, she comes back, right, and they're back in their routine. Down on page 92, Elias never told her anything anymore because they had stood up in the presence of God and their families and pledged to be loving and faithful so long as they both should live, because she was meant to be his helpmeet, living in the light of the Lord. And one couldn't very well be a helpmeet when one's husband never told one anything. So we see a little bit of the sarcasm here, right? And Katie's frustration. She made vows, right, to be by his side, to help him, but she's realizing that she's not helping. She's like the one carrying the weight. And her husband doesn't even see it or appreciate it. So in the pages of the book, we see how this discontent on her part keeps growing and growing and growing, and how I forget her age, but physically she has aged a lot.
Yeah. She's had, I don't know how many kids she has at this point. And they're Quakers, so they go to meetings. And then I figured out what these meetings are. These meetings are like religious meetings, right? For their religion.
Yes.
Her father, her and Hope's father, wasn't around much because his job as a preacher was to go and preach around. That was his job, preach the word of God. And so that's why to her is, nope, she's married. She has to be there for him. 6 weeks he was left behind to manage this boarding house. And he couldn't do it.
He couldn't do it. No.
He couldn't do it. He had to. Couldn't do it though because he was already calling her or writing to her to come back.
Because he couldn't call because there were no phones.
Yeah, exactly. 1900. So the reason why Katie left with the kids to the
country
because they were in
the mom lives in the countryside, so they
avoid yellow fever.
Yeah. Yes,
it was yellow fever. So she's like, I'm taking the kids to avoid the irony, right? To avoid them getting the yellow fever.
Sick, yes.
So left the man. Apparently, he's not gonna get sick. I don't know. Someone has to stay back.
Yes, and run the boarding house.
And Hope, Katie left with the kids, and they left Elma behind. Yes. Elma, yes, is their cousin, but she's also called here a bastard.
Oh yes, she's an illegitimate child.
Very illegitimate child.
I forget exactly how that came to be. Maybe we'll remember when we go through the book. But yes, and she's obviously discriminated in a way because it's a label that really marks a person. And so people know about her being an illegitimate child, and there's a certain behaviors and traits associated with that. She must be easy, flirtatious,
like no values or
doesn't have values, is immoral, and we're gonna see a lot of that coming up in the trial, right? How in a way it's implied that she asked for what happened to her because of the way she behaved,
because of
or
who
simply
her
because
parents were.
Simply because
just a label that is attached to her. Her mom was 16 when she got pregnant, and from what I read, it was maybe it was around a time when a lot of military men would come through the town, and that's how she got pregnant. So I never knew her father, but from what I understand, the mom was still alive, but she was still under Katie's care in this boarding house. Who she probably helped them out too, but they didn't care about Elma staying behind catching yellow fever. They left her there with Elias and the other men that were boarders there. Yes. So I'm on page 99.
Go ahead.
Yes. Perfect. It says Burr versus Hamilton. And right here, Hamilton. Does this still apply today? Let's see what I want to write about that. It was just like Hamilton to set himself up as the arbiter of truth. A stone statue on a pedestal. Undoubtedly holiday gilded scales and blind, dangerously blind. Truth, said Aaron delicately, is the daughter of time, not the product of the courts. Our remit is to establish our client's innocence, not the truth of the matter. Aren't those one and the same, demanded Hamilton, as if it weren't quite plain that they weren't the same thing at all. If he didn't know that by now, Aaron was going to be the one to explain to him. But then, as Aaron had learned over the course of their very long acquaintance, Hamilton had a remarkable capacity for self-delusion. So, lawyer approach for justice, and are they the same? So Aaron Burr wants to give that reasonable doubt. He didn't do it.
He wants to exonerate Eli, right?
Well, Aaron Burr wants to be like, no, he didn't do it. But then there's Hamilton. It's like, yeah, but we got to find the truth.
Yeah, the real killer. Yes.
Who was the real killer? Not just he didn't do it. He wants to really, really like make sure
justice for
Elma, for Levi. And so
that's one of the disagreements that this team has, right?
Yes.
The defense team. Burr thinks it's sufficient to, like you said, find reasonable doubt and exonerate Levi, whereas Hamilton is like, that's not enough. We need to find the real killer and bring them to justice.
Yeah.
And again, we'll let you wait until the end to find out if that happens.
Yeah. And then on the next page, 100, if a thing is to be done, it should be done right, said Hamilton stubbornly. And by right, as Aaron knew all too well, Hamilton meant his way. If there was one thing of which Hamilton was assured, it was that he was right and everyone else was wrong. Co-counsel be damned. To merely acquit the boy isn't enough. We ought to bring the guilty to justice. So it's almost like there's a double purpose for him.
Yeah.
Levi proving he's innocent, but also finding the guilty person if there's a guilty person.
I mean, we're not lawyers, but like, where do you draw the line? Do you just do what your job requires, like Aaron Burr mentioned? Our job is to exonerate Levi. That's who we're defending. The rest is not up to us.
Yeah,
But Hamilton wants to go all in,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
So,
and that calls, and I wrote, is that the proper role of a lawyer? And do, you know, if you're a lawyer, what's your take on that? Is, you know, is it just easy money? Let's do the quickest trial possible, or is it to actually for justice for everyone involved?
Do you just stay on your lane, or do you go all out like the idealist Hamilton? Right?
Yeah.
And does that mean, you know, you're not staying in your lane?
Yeah, exactly.
109?
Yes.
Okay, so on 109, I will read a metaphor that I liked, and then I'll let you know why. In the middle of the page, all of them seek to use the courtroom as a theater in which they can display their skills in advance of the election. So this is a character in the book, I can't remember who, talking about Hamilton, Burr, and, you know, so then you wonder, right, is this really all, are they doing this because they really care about Levi's fate, or is it just a political maneuver? And, I mean, really, we never get an answer to that question, or is it a little bit of both? And the people in that courtroom realize that, that they're not really there for Levi, or they might not be there for Levi.
So.
On page 112, Cadwallader, I can't even say his name. Cadwallader, his wife develops, or his wife talks to him about the case, because he's really frustrated. There's a lot of challenges, but also he's like, okay, I'm a team of one. He's the prosecutor, and he's up against these big political figures, Hamilton, Burr, and Livingston. So it's very intimidating for him. And so he's just, you know, he's working a lot, he's exhausted, and his wife tells him, and I have to retrace my steps a bit, because the running theory now is that Elma might have been pregnant, and that she might have intentionally aborted the child. So his wife, Cadwallader's wife, says, just because she wasn't with the child doesn't mean she hadn't lost the child. Because they're like, well, we looked at the body, we did an autopsy, she was not pregnant. She's like, that doesn't mean she wasn't pregnant before she was murdered. And so then it took a woman to plant that seed.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's true.
Yeah.
So now the investigation has taken a turn. Was she pregnant? Did she have a miscarriage? Did she have an abortion? Because what we're hearing in this trial is that she had stomach pains, abdominal pains. Was it because of her menstruation, or was it because she was pregnant? So we will see that.
Yeah. Prior her to leaving, she said that, you know, there was a time when she was locked up in her room with Levi because she was having those stomach issues. Nobody else was allowed to go in there. Levi, I don't know if we got there yet, but Levi kept telling Katie, we need to call the doctor. Katie said no. No. And there was this potion, Lotta something.
Lotta something.
That she joked once, and it came up because she joked about it, about taking the whole thing and pretty much taking her life.
Yes.
Right. But really it was prescribed to just take a drop or two for the pain. Katie tried to say that she had these pains for a year, when in reality it wasn't for a year. And it just why did she say that?
Yeah.
Is what there was a.
And also let's add that Levi, Hope, Elma, they were all around the same age.
Mm-hmm.
They were friends. You know, they're
Mm-hmm.
living in the same boarding house, so it's just it was very easy for them to develop some kind of a friendship.
Mm-hmm.
So Levi says that he was concerned about her health. He said they weren't having a relationship. He was just concerned as a friend, and that's why he was in her room taking care of her. And that was how he was explaining being in there, whereas the prosecution is saying no, he had a romantic relationship with her. So on page 123, Lily, yes, we discover that there's another possible killer, Elias Ring. Elias, who is the owner of the boarding house, who is Katie's husband, because a witness, I think a neighbor,
Mrs.
says
Watkins,
that she heard Alma with him in her room. She heard sounds through the wall.
So it sounds like these buildings or these houses
walls are very
thin and close.
Or they're very loud.
Very, right? One or the other. And so that while Katie was gone to the country, it was not Levi who they heard. It was Elma with Elias. So that was like a, wait, what?
Yeah.
Because that changes a lot. And so the neighbors as witnesses, and I think, they told Alexander this for the defense. So they're taking this information like, here it is. That's the reasonable doubt that needs to be planted.
Yes.
So putting the blame on somebody else.
So Aaron Burr's like, we did our job. We have a second,
done.
we have another possible suspect. But Hamilton is not satisfied. He wants
there's
got to
be more. Yeah.
Who killed her? 134?
I have 132, and it's more about, and it's just like for the timeline. Katie is, so there's this other character, another Richard Croucher, Mr. Croucher. He is also a boarder. He sells women's, like, wearables is what they call it, right? And so he's friends with Elias, it seems like, but Mr. Croucher, we're going to call him Mr. Croucher, witnessed something and is blackmailing Elias. He witnessed Elias being with Elma. So there was one night when Katie was kind of snooping. The two men were whispering. They were not whispering because Katie could hear them. And
the walls are thin.
Exactly. Yeah. And you told, this is pretty much Croucher telling Elias, you told the truth, kind of saying, you told the perfect truth. You did hear her and you did see her clothes lying where they'd pulled her off, because they both said, it was Levi. Levi was the one sleeping with her. You simply neglected to add that it was you there with yourself enjoying her favors. So Katie is hearing pretty much they're admitting, they're saying it was Elias sleeping with Elma. So Katie, of course.
So now we have confirmation, right, by another character in the story that was a witness. Yes. Yeah, two. Now we have two testimonies.
And so she confronts him, which I was very proud of, because I thought being she was gonna be very submissive, very like, no, that's my husband. I'm not going to say anything, right? And it would get confusing because there was a lot of these. If thee, right? Remember they're Quakers. Katie's confronting him, and then he turns around and says, if thee had been here where thee were meant to be, he said viciously, none of this would have happened. Does thee know how lonely it was with everyone gone away? Thee went away and left me.
I have the same quote. I was like, wow, it's her fault.
Dare you?
Yes, it's her fault he cheated.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
She left him to go to, avoiding the yellow fever.
And then in page 135, he gives more excuses. He says, we love the thees. Thee never has time for me. Everyone is more important to thee than thine own husband. At least Alma. And then Katie thinks this. She doesn't say it. Alma wasn't cooking and cleaning for thee, she wanted to say. Alma wasn't making sure thy children were clothed and thy bills paid. But she knew if she did, they would cross a bridge over which they could never return. And she wanted so badly to go back to an hour ago before she knew. What is she going to do with this knowledge, right? Now that it's been admitted to by her husband. What are her options in the 1800s, right?
Right. And so, well, the end of that chapter, but it hadn't been visited upon them. This was in divine retribution. Elias had made the choice to share her cousin's bed. What else might Elias have done? So now she's questioning.
Yeah.
Could it have been him that killed her?
Yeah.
And he said, what does thee take me for? It was Levi. It was Levi who killed her. Thee knows it to be true. What do thee think I pushed her in the well? I was by thy side that night. He seized her by the shoulders, is like grabbing her. Thee knows I was in the house. Thee will attest to that in court because thee knows it is to be true. So it goes on and on and on. And so
I had a lot of underlines on that page, Lily, as well.
Oh, it's part.
Because
Okay, yeah.
Here, he's trying to gaslight her.
Yeah, that's exactly what that is.
He needs an alibi. He knows that this is going to come up, and he needs to convince her to provide that testimony that they were together when clearly they weren't, right? Which is what you were saying. And at the end of the page 136, we can see that Katie is subdued. Katie's shoulders hurt where his fingers had pressed, or maybe that was her imagination. He hadn't held her so hard. So then she jumps into something very practical, I guess. I don't know the right word. But she goes and talks about the door that needs fixing.
That door comes up a lot.
Yes.
Quite a bit.
So she's like, hey, the door, if thee might find the time to fix it. So they go from this intense argument about their marriage and their futures and him being a cheater.
Yeah.
To, hey, can you fix the door? And then at the end of the chapter, she says, I thank thee, husband, because he tells her that he'll do it today.
Yeah.
And it was just a very emotionally charged and draining chapter for me to read, because I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, imagine Katie hearing her husband
Admit
and
blame
this,
her.
and then blame her, and then be like, well, you need to say I was here with you.
Yeah.
And then she's like, can you please just fix
the door?
Yes. Thank you for fixing that door.
The door that I've been asking you to fix all this time.
It was a lot.
And then she thanks him at the end. It was a lot, yes. You really feel for her.
Yeah, because it's almost like she has no choice, but because what would happen to her kids? But yet, someone needs to tell her, you're the one making money. This is your house. Yes. You're the one that's doing everything. She's the one that cleans, the one that cooks, the one that
and she knows
everything.
it. So she's not that blind, because she in her thoughts, she's like, I'm the one doing all this. And her sister Hope does tell her.
Yeah.
In the following page is like, why are we here? We can make this work alone together.
Yeah.
And we'll see if Hope convinces her to leave him.
Yeah.
141?
Oh, yes.
So on 141, let's remember Lily told us about Croucher, one of the tenants at the boarding house. He is clearly perjuring himself at the end of this page. And I wonder, why is he doing it? He says, Hamilton summarizes Croucher's testimony. He is the only one who claims to have seen Levi Weeks engaged in carnal relations with Elma Sands. So he's clearly lying under oath. And we wonder why, right? And as Lily said, we discover that he's got some kind of an agreement with Elias. So he's protecting Elias.
It's like they're protecting each other, I think, right?
Yes. They have something on each other. On page 142, we were mentioning the stigma of illegitimate children. So Aaron Burr says at the beginning of page 142, that Elma might have been distributing her favors broadly. She was a bastard. They are notoriously prone to hot blood. I mean, there it is, right? That is the stigma, the way they're perceived. They're assuming that just because she was born out of an unwed mother, that she must be distributing her favors broadly. Page 143?
Yes.
Hamilton's theory at the bottom of the page. He says, I believe Richard Croucher saw Elias Ring murder Elma Sands. So that's Hamilton's theory. And he thinks that that's what they have on each other. But again, his defense team is not interested in proving that. They just want to plant the seed of reasonable doubt and free Levi. 149?
It's all you for a bit.
On 149, we've said this before, nature versus nurture. This is Cadwallader. These are his thoughts. How was character formed, and was it inherited or made? But the courtroom was no place for such musings, only for solid certainties. Alma Sands, did she strike you as being an unruly disposition, possessed of bad blood? And my, other than that, what I just mentioned, also my question is, who's on trial here?
Yeah.
It seems like Alma's on trial.
Yeah.
That should be irrelevant. You know?
Yeah, she's not there to defend herself.
Whatever her inclinations were,
Yeah.
she did not commit a crime.
Yeah.
They should be asking these questions of the murderer, not of Alma Sands. So
Yeah,
again, it's upsetting.
Anything to bring attention to something else.
Yeah, as if she asked for this.
Yes.
Right? As if, based on her behaviors, she deserved to be murdered.
Right.
174?
174, yes. Oh, no, wait, hold on. 170, yes. Go for it.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
So I continue on this thread of illegitimacy. Alexander was beginning to get a sense of this Elma, a forceful young lady with a somewhat dangerous sense of humor, a talented, restless girl, constrained by her birth, unable as a man might, as he had, to break out of her circumstances. So if you know a little bit about Alexander Hamilton, he was also an illegitimate child. So the story of Alma resonates with his story, but he also realizes that he's been able to break that cycle because he's a man, and that it was not as easy for Alma to do it because she's a woman. So I had to say something.
Yeah, definitely.
179?
I have something there too.
Okay.
So there was a conversation between Alexander and Levi, right? Because they're trying to prepare for the questioning on trial. And Levi does say he does follow Elma out that night when they were supposed to meet. But then he returned, but he said, Elma stopped confiding in me after I came upon her embracing Croucher. So there's another man in the picture.
There's a third man now, yes. Now it's Elma and Croucher. And we're wondering, why are they embracing? Right?
Yeah. So maybe that's what Elias had against him also. On each other.
Yes. Because they're both courting the same woman.
Yeah. And, and it's not just, okay, whatever, they flirted. She's dead.
Yeah.
So
now we have three suspects.
Motive.
Yes. 186, Lily?
I have something, 183. Okay. Aaron versus Hamilton again. Here we go. How many are we up to now? Inquired Aaron. Brockholst counted them off. This is Livingston.
Okay.
Weeks, Ring, and Croucher. And the neighbor claims the girl was away of nights and lied about her whereabouts. The prosecution will attempt to stir the emotions of the jury by painting her as a virtuous woman seduced and betrayed. They'll be less sympathetic to a loose woman. She was a bastard after all, said Aaron. She was a woman betrayed by the men who promised to care for her, said Hamilton abruptly. She deserves better from us. And so this is where we see both sides clashing a little bit. And, it's like, I like Hamilton's take on it. Defending her. She's not there to defend herself. Yeah.
So, but you also wonder, like, is it because of his own background that he's so vested in the story of Alma? Would it be different if he wasn't also an illegitimate child? But again, those are just questions that will never be answered.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do we automatically empathize more with a person that shares our background? Or do we, or how do we define empathy? I guess. But, that came up for me. Like, is he understanding her more simply because they share this background? well, versus the other men that don't.
Yeah.
On 197.
Okay, I have something on 194. It said right here, Cadwallader settled himself firmly on his feet and faced the jury. This is when they were doing their final, maybe. Faced the jury. 12 men who knew they were participating in the most momentous trial of a generation, all looking at him. It was just as he told Mrs. Ring 2 weeks ago. All he needed to do to win was to tell the truth, because the truth would hang Levi Weeks. This, and I had to go back and read that. I'm like, 12 men? This case was judged by a male jury only. And this is 1800, like 1800. And so I looked it up, and it wasn't until 1920.
My God.
120 years later, women gained the constitutional right to vote and be part of a jury nationwide. In Wyoming, it was earlier. It was 1870. But that was one state. So it started developing state by state. But it wasn't until 1920 that nationally. 100 plus years later. So I wonder, how would it have been different if there were women in the jury?
So much by a jury of your peers.
Yes.
Right? Because if you're a woman, those are not your peers.
And the peers, the men, they've already heard the rumors.
Yes.
They were probably, and something that wasn't said is the jury selection.
Yes.
How do they choose the jury that, supposed to be fair and objective? I've never been in a jury before, but I know they say you shouldn't read on it, you shouldn't talk about it, you shouldn't anything. That way you're not getting information, but I'm sure people do.
And you're questioned before you become part of that,
the panel. The panel,
yes.
So how did they choose these 12 men?
Yeah.
Who are they? Were they the ones with money?
Yeah.
And how, objective were they going to be? Because the rumors were already out there.
Circulating, yes. They already made up their mind in terms of, how they were going to decide on this case. 190.
Yes, it's all you.
Okay. So on 196, Katie takes the stand. Remember, she already knows that her husband cheated on her with Alma. And apparently it's her fault because she's not around.
Yeah.
She's too busy paying the bills and taking care of the kids. So she mentions that she wasn't going to lie, but she's withholding. And so my question is it a lie if you omit to say everything you know? Is it equally immoral to withhold? She could feel her soul soiled by it. She wished she could scrub it clean the way she did the washing. So even though she's not saying everything she knows, she's only answering the questions very briefly, yes, no, but she's not volunteering any information. And she feels like a liar, even though she's technically not lying. So what makes us a liar? That's, again, I'm just throwing it out there. Yeah.
Like, I've never been in a jury before, but I've read, or seen, obviously, a lot of shows, only answer to what it's being asked. Right.
Well, and also, how much do you disclose? I forget. I was having a conversation with somebody yesterday about, you mentioned gossip earlier, right? Should you talk about everything you've heard? Or should you only talk about what you've seen for yourself?
Right.
Right. Are you protecting people by not talking about things that you have not seen for yourself?
Yeah.
Should you just disclose everything you heard?
Yeah.
Is it helpful or is it more damaging? Right. It's difficult to decide. So again, I like that quote I shared earlier, right? Let's just think about what we put out there, because once it's out there, you can't take it back.
Well, especially if you have social media, you put it out there. You can delete it, but it's still there.
People have seen it. People have, yeah. 229?
Yes.
So it's funny you mentioned jury duty. I have a comment here from page 229. Burr says, the court is trying to determine whether to adjourn. There is no precedent for a trial going into a second day. And, my comment was, now they go for weeks. They sequester jurors.
Yeah.
I remember, here it is. On on the following page, page 230, the judge decides that they will sequester the jury. They won't be allowed to go home. And, you know, the jurors are up in arms because this isn't heard of. The judge says, having been sworn, you must be kept away from anyone who might sway your opinion. And somebody suggests that they sleep on the floor of the portrait gallery. And they're going to assign constables to keep them together until morning. They bring them blankets and refreshments. So there is no place for them to stay, but the judge recognizes they can't be allowed to go home. So, you know, it's interesting to see the evolution of how this is handled. But this was a first time. You know, they went on until midnight, I think, and then everybody was exhausted. Cadwallader says, you know, I'm not even seeing straight anymore. We need to stop. And so they do. 241?
241, yes.
Eliza tells Hamilton, Eliza's his wife, she says to him, last winter we delivered meals and medicine to 100 widows and their families. Only 100. But those were 100 who were kept from the poorhouse. Should I stop serving the 100 because there are 400 more I failed? We do what we can, imperfect as we are. So this is Eliza trying to comfort her husband, Hamilton, because, you know, he's really struggling with this case. And I think that's one of the frustrations that a lot of us have, right? Like, time is never enough. We never have enough resources, but it's better to help some than to help none, or to do as much as we can, even if it's not 100%. And I think that goes for our profession, right? Teaching. You know, it's never enough.
You can't touch all 31.
243, Eliza also tells Hamilton at the bottom of the page, this isn't your bank. There are no accounts and no lines of credit in a marriage.
I remember that, yeah.
So he feels guilty, right? Because he's not putting in enough time into their marriage. I think that's where that came from, right? And he has, for those of us that know a little bit about his life, right? He was, I believe, the one that started the bank for the government. Yeah, the treasury.
Yeah.
And so she's making that analogy, right? Yeah. Marriage is not like that.
Yeah. It's not like, oh, you owe me, I owe you.
Yes. You make a deposit, you can take time off.
Yeah. Well, you know, this is Hamilton and Eliza, but I feel like Cadwallader has the same conversation with his wife Maria.
Yes.
The time, they're not there for them. So he struggles with it, but also wants to still keep going, get into politics, because there's a conversation about that. And Maria just says, like, because he says, oh, you can come with us. You and David can come. It's like, no, we're not going to do that.
I don't know if the author did this intentionally, but, you know, we've heard the old adage, behind every great man, there's a great woman. And we see snippets of that.
Yes.
With these men that have, you know, we know historically, and we see the contributions that their wives make, even in a subtle way, right?
Yeah. It's like behind the scenes.
It's a fictional book, but it's based on lots of research, like you mentioned in the beginning. So I like that she did that. We saw how the wives help their husbands.
Yes.
Right? 282?
Yes. Actually, 281 is the verdict. They come back and the foreman cleared his throat. The unanimous verdict of this jury is that the prisoner is not guilty. And that's the final verdict for Levi. So
on page 282, we see Katie's reaction. Katie, remember, Elma's cousin, Elias's wife. General Hamilton says, Mrs. Ring, or he's the one talking to her, and she says to him, thee should be ashamed of thyself. If thee dies a natural death, I shall think there is no justice in heaven. And of course, you know, we already know how Hamilton died. He was in a duel with Aaron Burr, and he was killed by Aaron Burr. So it's interesting that line was put in there, right?
Yeah, it's like cursing him.
Yes.
But
And-
she's a Quaker.
Yes, and there's a little bit about that curse that you mentioned towards the end, so we'll wait until then to talk about that. And then Ezra, Levi's brother, tells Hamilton, "I think you've just been cursed, General." And then Hamilton says, "I don't believe Quakers are allowed to do that." And so then he goes and talks to Ezra about his house. So we know that Hamilton also wanted to help Ezra Weeks, Levi's brother, because he was a builder, and Hamilton had promised his wife Eliza a home. So, I can see how it's so angering for Katie, regardless of the verdict, that they're just talking business, right? Oh,
What was that?
This is over, and fireworks. I don't know. This is over, and now let's talk about the house. Like, it's just another
Very
case.
nonchalant.
Yes.
Like, you don't even. It was right there, probably right after outside the courthouse,
Yes,
right?
they're still there, and Katie.
Back to business.
Katie's upset because for many reasons, and they're just not sensitive to her feelings. They're just talking about business like nothing.
Yeah,
we're done. Let's move on.
Well, because their thing was getting Levi off.
So and they did. They
were happy.
accomplished their mission. 285. I just mentioned that reality stinks for Katie. Alma's killer was free, and Elias's adultery was known to the world. And,
yes, that came out. Yeah.
But the children and the boarders would still expect to be fed. And she goes back after the trial, and she says, that she's got to start the oath steeping. The woman is like, I'm just in shock by
I feel like she's a zombie.
Yes.
She's just walking.
She's just like, gotta do the chores.
She's like going through the motions of her job.
Yeah.
And it's like, is that what mothers do? I'm not a mother, but right?
I mean, things need to get done. That is true. I have to say
can't get sick.
Yeah. Yes, you can't. There's certain things you just can't do. It reminded me of the book we discussed previously. Remember Audrey?
Oh, yes.
She's just moving along.
Yeah.
Like the world is falling apart, but there's certain things that need to be done, whether the world falls apart or not. And that is Katie here again. 289. On 289, I also like this quote. Hamilton tells Cadwallader, who doubts himself for believing Croucher. So remember, they were on opposite sides of the case, Hamilton and Cadwallader. Gosh, I can't say this name.
It's his last name. I'd rather say his last name.
I'd rather have a man at my side who is more wise than cunning, says Hamilton, driven by good intentions rather than extreme and irregular ambitions. So they apparently were friends. His first name is Colden. I'm going to go with that from here on out. And I just really love this quote. I'm going to read it again. I'd rather have a man at my side who is more wise than cunning, driven by good intentions rather than by extreme and irregular ambitions. And I have to agree with that. Wisdom is more valuable than ambition and, intelligence. And by intelligence, I mean, he uses the word being cunning, right? Because I associate that word with, not always well-intentioned. It's about getting what you want for yourself.
Trickery.
So here are the rivals in the case, we discover they're actually friends in real life, or they are, I don't know how close they are, but yeah, their wives know each other. So on page 293.
So do we know why he went to go talk to him?
No, I don't remember that part.
So he goes to talk to him because this is after a few weeks after the trial. Hope, Katie's sister, in the boarding house, she hears noises from upstairs, and she goes to see. She's thinking it's one of the boarders, Mr. Croucher, but it's a girl. It's a young girl.
Oh yes.
The man, Richard Croucher, he marries a widow.
Yes, he does, and we all suspect that it's because he wants her money. It's not about interested in her.
And so the girl that was locked in the room, I'm assuming, or not being allowed to let go out, is the widow's adopted daughter.
Yes.
And so Hope finds her, and the girl's pleading for help. And she says, what did he do? So he Croucher raped her, is holding her there. She's not leaving because he threatened to do to her what happened to Alma Sands. Almost like saying, I will kill you if you say something. But Hope still helps her. and says, let's go to pretty much, I don't know what they call the cops there. No, he doesn't want to. She doesn't want to. She's afraid. So they go to the attorney Cadwallader.
Cadwallader. Yes.
Right? They go to him.
Yes.
And he's the one that goes to Hamilton, and then together there's a new...
Because Hamilton was always interested in finding out who the killer was, right?
Who, yeah. So.
And Hamilton suspected that it was Croucher all along, but
there were things that were said.
Yeah. But again, their job was to prove Levi was innocent.
Yeah.
The rest was extra.
Yeah. So Croucher does go... He gets a life sentence for raping her. Yeah. And then gets hung for another crime that he did.
That happens in England. Because he eventually goes back home because he's English. And in the U.S., there is no death penalty. But in England, there is. So he gets his comeuppance eventually. On page 293, I'm going to rewind a little bit from what Lily just said. There's a conversation between Cadwallader and his wife. And his wife tells him, I don't rate your worth by the number of trials you win, but by the goodness of your heart. So they were having relationship issues. Again, the complaint time, right? You spend too much time working. He keeps saying, well, I want to get to whatever point so that we can have these things. And then we will go and enjoy our retirement. And she kept saying, well, I want you now. And so I just really love this quote because, she basically tells him your worth is not based on the work you do. Your worth for me is different. And he finally understands that. He listens and he changes the course of his life. On page 298.
295.
Okay, go ahead.
Hope goes and talks to Levi after, because Levi is getting ready to leave the town, because it doesn't matter that the verdict came back as not guilty. He's still judged. He's still
people believe in his guilt. Many people in town still believe he's guilty, and the only reason he got out was because his brother had money and he had this amazing defense team. Yeah,
and talking about money, it says here, no, not the people my brother paid to say otherwise. Levi leaned his hands on the side of the car. Did you know Ezra offered the clerk of the court $1,500 to suppress his report of the trial? Or if he preferred, $500 just to add a single line saying I'd been completely exonerated. $1,500? Hope had never imagined such money existed. So I looked it up. $1,500 in 1800 then is equivalent to $50,000 to $60,000 now.
For us, that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. So that yes, they talked about how Ezra was wealthy. He's wealthy. But he's really, really well-to-do. So how much of that influenced the non-guilty verdict?
Yes.
So you start to think like, again.
Yeah. Whether he was guilty or not, money helped.
Money definitely helped. I mean, just for him.
Look at the team he got to defend him.
Aaron Burr, yeah.
Yeah.
Although Aaron Burr, he was in debt is what they talked about too. So I'm sure that he owed him money for something else. I don't know.
298, which is the next page after that. In case we didn't mention it, there was some implication, or it was said outright, that there was some flirtation going on between Hope and Levi, to the point where Hope was very confused because she thought that they had something was blooming between them, and all of a sudden he's running off with her cousin. So on page 298, Hope had always prided herself on her clear-headedness, but she was beginning to wonder if the Levi she'd fancied herself in love with had ever existed, or if he had been as much a product of her imagination as Katie's Elias, a series of attributes grafted onto a handsome face and a pleasing manner. So my comment was on, how you fall for someone and what you see at the beginning stages of a relationship, and how much of what you see is actually true, and you don't fail to see the whole person, right?
Yeah.
And I like that contrast that she made. She's a very mature young lady, because she's trying to understand her sister. Like, is that what she sees? Is that why she's still with this guy, her husband? She fails to see the negative parts of him. You mentioned, Lily, already that Croucher rapes this young girl.
This is where, this is where Hope finds her. I think I was ahead of myself.
Yeah. Page 302. And here Katie and Hope have this conversation about going to the authorities.
Mm-hmm.
And Katie's like, no. If she complains of him, the taint will follow her. And Hope's like, but she did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
But it's true.
Yeah.
Like, she will be a marked woman. And she's only, I think, a 13-year-old girl. So Katie thinks she's doing her a
13?
favor. Yes, I think so. She thinks she's doing her a favor by not going to the authorities, because when people know she's been raped, nobody's going to want her. No man will consider her virtuous and worthy of marriage. How sad.
That is very
How
sad.
upsetting. 309. We talked about the death penalty already. 309. So they do go to the authorities, and Croucher is pronounced guilty. And in several other countries, a conviction of this kind would be followed by an ignominious death. But the humanity of the modern code of this country, the U.S., has instead determined that you'll be confined in a state of prison for life. The court think themselves bound to add that it will be hard labor. You may count yourself fortunate. And of course, hard labor is now not allowed in prisons. So maybe Mr. Croucher would suffer more with skin cracked and calloused, in sweat-soaked homespun that shaved his skin to sores, and lice crawling through his dirt-encrusted hair, than he would with a swift and merciful death at the end of a row. So, yeah, I often think about this. What's worse?
Yeah.
An immediate death, because even in death penalty, it tends to be quick.
Yeah.
Torture isn't involved, or a life of hard labor, like what's just described here on page 309.
Yeah.
On page 311, there's a metaphor that addresses corruption, so I'll read it to you. Watching Richard Croucher in the courtroom without his silks and brocades was like peeling back the skin of a fine red apple to see the rot and worms within. He had stunk of corruption. In the witness stand, he'd been bold. In the dock, he was craven, crawling thing. He was a craven, crawling thing. He's the very devil beneath the finery. You would have known from his countenance alone. So yes, this quote taught me that we need to look beyond, when we look at certain people, what hides beneath all the finery, as is said in this, on this page. 314? So on 314, Hope dreams of a life away from Elias, but cannot convince Katie to leave him. Women have been the backbone of this family, and yet. So this is what Hope tells her sister. We could run a boarding house by summer and trim hats by winter. I've never seen thee fail at anything thee put thy mind to. And think of the children. Think how happy they are there at the country, in the countryside. Hope saw Katie glance over her shoulder at the girls and knew she was winning. Leave Elias here in the city. Let him manage however he likes. But ultimately, Katie decides against it and stays with her husband. And this is the last page, page 315. We are left with this doubt. Hope leaves. And she says, I hope you come join me. And she tells Rachel, her niece, the same thing. She's a 9 or 10-year-old. She also tells her, you're welcome to come if your mom doesn't want to. And so we are left with that question. Will they come? Will Rachel break the cycle?
Right.
And I like that ending because it makes you speculate, right? Will they, will they not?
Yeah.
And then in the epilogue, the author tells us about what happened to all these characters. We'll let you
I like that.
look into it. We're not going to read to you what happened to all of them. But to summarize, Levi moved away and his fame followed him, right? He never really found peace wherever he went. People always wondered if he was the murderer of Elma Sands. The murderer was never found. Hope married someone else. Richard Croucher left. Although he was sentenced to a life in prison, he got a pardon, which is very upsetting to me when I read that. And he ended up going to England, and he was convicted of some other heinous crime.
Oh, okay, yeah.
We don't know what that crime was, and he was hanged.
So he wasn't hung. I thought he was hung.
Yeah, and then yeah, I mean that's it for me, Lili. I don't know if you have anything else to add.
And Katie We don't know how many kids she had.
Mhm.
She ended up having 6 more kids.
With Elias, yes.
Yes, that's
Yes.
nuts.
But I think eventually, did she end up leaving? I think she did, right? I didn't. I said I wasn't going to tell you guys, but I guess
No, but now we want to know.
now we want to know.
Catherine and her children eventually returned to her hometown
Yes.
of New Cornwall,
So
New
she-
York, where
yes.
Catherine turned her childhood home into a summer boarding house known fondly as Rose Cottage. She lived to 83.
Yeah.
Known for her good works and for the book she wrote about her father, the Quaker preacher. Local lore recalls Catherine Sands proudly coming to church on Sundays, trailed by no fewer than 29 grandchildren.
Whereas Elias died many years before because he ended up becoming a heavy drinker, and he died of yellow fever.
That's
so
funny.
yeah.
The guilt probably got to him. I don't know. Because we still
Yeah.
don't know. We really, truly don't know.
We
what happened.
wanted resolution. We
Mhm.
didn't get it. Lauren Willig gives us a lot of references
Mhm.
in terms of how other writers have approached
Yes.
the mysterious case of the girl from
Greenwich.
Street.
Greenwich.
But ultimately, it's an unsolved case, and apparently, it's going to remain unsolved.
Yeah. There's.
But it was good to read it because, like you just heard, we learned a lot. So,
America's first murder trial.
Yes.
Right here.
hope you enjoyed this episode, and stay tuned for our next one. We will be reading Michael Connolly's Nightshade, another murder mystery, because we love to play detective.
We like not good at it, but we like to do it. At least I'm not good at it.
Until next time, dear reader,
And here,
signing off to
Our-
Gals in a Book.
wait, our
podcast.
post-its.
Richard Point.
Richard Point, and I think he dropped a few.